Welcome to the 2025 USC presidential debate between Kat Henriquez, Mir Khan, Loic Neppert, Noah Matsukawa, Mati Krajewski, Marisha Serofim, and Tessa Smith.
Well, I believe that I've had a very well-rounded university experience, as I mentioned before. I think that I've been involved in multiple aspects of university life. I love to understand people's point of view, people's issues, and throughout my 4 years, I've always asked people how they find Western, why they came here, and I feel like that makes me a good candidate to represent the students. I don't think that we necessarily need council experience for that. I believe that just being involved in student life, aware of issues that are important to students at Western, I believe that makes me a qualified candidate for this role. Thank you very much.
I have a few points on this. First of all, I have sat in council, and in my duties as a councillor, I've talked to a lot of other councillors, I talked to other student leaders, and I have engaged with the USC and learned how it works that way. I've also done extensive consultations when I was preparing my platform for president, because I wanted to make sure that it was well researched. I think my experience in council is easily enough that I understand how this organization operates. I would know how to run it, but I also want to emphasize the validity of my perspective as somebody who hasn't been in council for the entire time.
The reason why I felt that it was best to expand the mental health services that Western offers is because in consultations with the executives, I've learned that Western wants you to go to their resources. They want you to focus on going to them before the USC. And while I think that the USC can share a lot to support students, if they want students to go to them, they need to expand their services. As a health sciences student, I've learned that the biggest thing with mental health is that you're not going to necessarily be in a crisis between working hours. Working with Western to expand their services would help to better support students. We need to make sure that students not only feel supported by Western, but know that they can access these services regardless. Thank you.
Another wonderful question. So, the USC currently has many beautiful events, from big artists coming, concerts, indoor skating rinks, rollerblading. I love it. I'm a Mustang. I love our social events. We have much, and I plan on continuing them. But I'm not planning on introducing new ones next year right away. The reason being, there are many current problems on campus that need to first be addressed, many that may require financial resources. If I were to introduce large-scale events for community engagement, that would mean I would either need to shift money from the budgets, I would need to either increase the ancillary fees from the USC side, or a referendum might even need to be held just to be able to suffice such a large-scale introduced program. So, I plan on continuing all the campus engagement things we have, but I don't plan on introducing any large-scale ones until we fix the problems we have here.
This is probably the most important point about why and what I symbolize as a candidate here on the stage. So the first thing I want to emphasize is that I would encourage the student population to read the progress reports that have come out the past 2 years of each of the presidents. Wonderful people, wonderful goals, but under-delivered by a large scale. When they come to office, they realize that number one thing is there's a backlog of stuff that you have to deal with. There's current problems that you have to deal with, and there's day-to-day problems that you have to deal with. And on top of that, you have to implement the 40 points that you established to the general public to get elected. And that's why we oftentimes you'll see people will under-deliver. So what I did was I kept 7 simple points, big scale changes, making sure the entire public gets, student population gets affected.
Thank you.
This is one of the platform moments I am most proud about. Food insecurity is a great issue, is a grave issue, sorry. So now more than ever, I'm so passionate to pitch this and propose this program to the Western community. So, after consultations with the master, I've been able to learn more about how their program is running. I've been able to consult with our current VP of Student Services and learn about the feasibility of this. So I think the most important thing is that when proposing this referendum, we really show the students what the benefits are. I want to provide more than 500 students with free meals every day. I think this is something that every student could value, and especially those who are in need. So, if you are food insecure, just know that I'll be there for you.
I'm very familiar with the Morissette Institute because I'm actually in the Founders Program there. And it's a great initiative for about 10 students a year. I think for me, what the USC is meant to do is support your goals. I said at the beginning that I'm building a USC where no student goes unrepresented, no idea goes unheard and no need goes unsupported. And what makes us different from the other funding opportunities available on campus is that our fund, the Entrepreneurship and Social Impact Fund, will be available no matter your faculty, no matter your academic status, no matter if you're a part-time or a full-time student. This is a University Students' Council that is supposed to work for you, and so we're going to put your dollars to work for you. I think that this is a great initiative that will support students from across campus and will give especially people focused in social impact and non-for-profit work the kind of support that just doesn't exist on campus.
Thank you for the question, because I lost my voice talking to 300 students this week, and they all have answered one question to the question, do you use ChatGPT? And they all said yes. Not a single one of them mentioned Copilot, and that is indicative of exactly what the student population is using on a daily basis. So with keeping that in mind, and saying that I'm student focused, I'm gonna focus on what students use.
I want to slightly push back on that there. I think there are quite a few new ideas in my platform. A lot of the ones that appear to be similar to existing USC initiatives are different in one key respect, because they actually access students better. So for example, I'm not just pushing like a possibilities fair to be the same as the careers fair, I'm pushing a possibilities fair that expands the horizon of what students know is available after school. So my possibilities fair idea is just by having a bunch of booths about all of the different options that you have after university, and like allowing students to see all of these different options rather than just something like a careers fair. I think a lot of my platform points also, this makes them more feasible, that they are kind of similar to like something that is done initially, or they are quite like easy to implement, won't require a ton of like budgetary changes. This means that I'm just able to support students more where they are based on my consultations with people, based on what people have told me they need, not just on the USC's existing ideas.
Now, through my student consultations, I had mixed reviews with some of these issues, such as EDID, and I got mixed feedback with regards to the responses I got. Most students found that the current levels of support were effective, but my platform and campaign team have also explored alternatives, such as an LGBTQ plus student mentorship program for these students when they enter the workplace, as well as an upper year mentorship program for Indigenous students. And I'm always happy to explore these options. If elected USC president, I'm always interested in hearing people's opinions, feedback, and I'm willing to implement them if the students truly do believe that these are necessary. Thank you very much.
I think the biggest point on my platform that I would want to prioritize is revamping the USC Now app. There's a whole lot of my initiatives that are tied to this app, and so the idea with this app is that we're making campus more accessible to students. We're having them understand like what is the programming out there for them? Can they find a place on this campus? What are the opportunities for them to grow?
Equitable treatment for all groups and individuals approaching the USC. Throughout the past years, some groups approaching the USC, individuals, clubs, and people, when they approach it, they've reported seeing that the USC sometimes treats certain groups with preferential treatment over others. I'm not a fan of that. I'm for each group being treated in an equitable manner.
I think it would definitely be strategic promotions, because currently the USC has a lot of services that students are forced to seek out in order to access. And I think if I can only choose one thing, it wouldn't be any of the new like platform points or any of the new events that I would run. It would be just making sure that the services that already exist, that are already funded, that students are already paying for, they're actually getting out to students. So getting out, boothing where students are, talking to students, like disseminating this information, being able to make sure that people at least know that these resources exist.
I think if there was one thing that I could do, it would 1000% be the USC's Take Back the Night, which is my approach to addressing the culture of sexual and gender-based violence on this campus. I'm really disappointed for students because I'm the only candidate on stage who's meaningfully contending with gender-based and sexual violence culture, despite the fact that all of us were at this university when there was a mass roofing incident at Medway Sydenham Hall. I did a year-long research project on tackling gender-based and sexual violence at universities, and I know for a fact that the only way that we can do that is if we all come together.
So basically, when the exam season starts at Western, it can be very hectic at the library. And as a regular student, and I can keep emphasizing the fact that I'm an irregular student, is because I noticed one thing, and that is students will roam around libraries in order to look for spots. So what I'm planning to do is implement occupancy sensors that are non-invasive to be able to give you to the T what spot and what desk is available on what level live before you ever enter the building. And on top of that, I would like to implement this into the rec center and reduce wait times for Western students. Thank you very much.
The big ticket item that I would make my first priority as USC president would most definitely be starting a Frost Clubs Week. I think the club system at Western University is something that makes our school truly unique. And I think that a lot of people are kind of intimidated by joining the club system in the first year, in the first semester, and they often put it off to second year.
So one of my platform points that I feel like does this best is the student mail delivery service. Students often come to campus and feel like their packages that are being delivered to their house may get stolen and that they have to rush home, missing out on important classes, on important time to catch up with friends, on important club meetings, and important research. So I want to give that time back to students by providing a mail-in service in the UCC that students can always access. More than that, I want to make sure it's promoted. I want to make sure that every single student knows.
This has concluded the first half of our 2024-2025 presidential candidate debate.